This is a perfect example of why it's so hard to find someone in this forest. I mean, you look behind me here, the trees are so thick you could barely see for a few hundred feet. And then the trees here are also so tall, it's hard to see something from the sky.
He can get lost. It will take a miracle to find him in there.
It's not hopeless, but locals who know this mountain say James DiMaggio has a head start on not being found. George Dumani has been on horseback through these hills to go fishing.
At least half a dozen times, at least.
He thinks it will take days for anyone to find DiMaggio and Hannah Anderson.
But to be able to get there, it's so rough. You gotta take horses. That's the only way you can get in and out.
10 News took the hour trek through these mountains that have also been burned by forest fires. But not all of it. Most of this area is still green and thick with an infinite amount of places two people can hide, especially if at least one of them doesn't want to be found. The road gives way to dirt, and crime scene tape keeps anyone other than the searchers from going any further. DiMaggio's car is about 30 minutes down the road.
There's no cell signal, so that's out of the question.
State police are searching any truck or car coming out of these woods. They won't let DiMaggio or Hannah slip through. Dumani is worried about Hannah. DiMaggio may know these woods, but the 16-year-old may not be ready for the steep mountains and the cold temperatures at night.
You can freeze to death, yeah.
People are still allowed to camp and fish up here, just not in the search area. Creeks and rivers zigzag all through the woods. Just another avenue for two people to disappear, especially if one of them doesn't want to be found. In the Boise National Forest,
You can get lost up there.
Joe Little, 10 News. This is as close as we're allowed to get to where that car was found. It's about another 30 minutes down this road. Beyond that, locals say the terrain gets very dangerous. Dangerous for anyone who's not familiar with it, like 16-year-old Hannah Anderson, but even more dangerous for someone like James DiMaggio who wants to disappear.
I thought he was a creep, a wacko.
Talk of the missing dominates the talk at Grandma's, a restaurant in Cascade, about an hour and a half from where DiMaggio's car was found.
I'm hoping that she's playing along with him until someone can, intervene.
Patty Bowman told me over breakfast she hopes they're found soon. This wilderness is thick, wide, and very hard to search.
I think everybody's worried about the poor girl.
Caroline Burke says Cascade has never had this much attention. It's not the attention she was hoping for. Burke is scared.
Because I'm a mother.
Her oldest daughter is 15, almost Hannah's age.
I wouldn't let my kids go outside yesterday.
Even though the missing could be hours away by now.
I was a sick pervert.
Bowman says the investigators need to recruit the locals who have hiked and horsebacked these mountains for years. She calls them cowboys.
They know that back country.
Anything would help find Hannah and DiMaggio. In the Boise National Forest,
I can't even imagine.
Joe Little, 10 News. This is what a lot of law enforcement was worried about, this darkness. It surrounds this wildlife area, yet 36 hours is all they needed to find Hannah before the sun went down.
Hannah is safe.
It's the words it seemed the nation was waiting to hear after 16-year-old Hannah Anderson disappeared with her captor, James DiMaggio.
Agents moved in to rescue Hannah. The suspect is deceased.
Hannah was safe. DiMaggio was shot and killed by an FBI agent. Days missing, apparently in this dense, lush Idaho forest. Residents of the nearby town of Cascade told 10 News it was treacherous terrain and nearly impossible to find someone.
I think everybody's worried about the poor girl.
Those worries were alleviated Saturday evening when DiMaggio and Hannah were found. The FBI and local sheriff's deputies wouldn't say exactly how they found the two.
I don't have any information about how they were spotted, but they were spotted from the air.
10 News got this text from a U.S. Marshal based out of San Diego. Me and two other U.S. Marshals flying in a U.S. Marshal plane located the campsite early this morning and then coordinated the insertion team's epic case. Once they were spotted, two FBI teams were helicoptered in, rappelled into the forest, and hiked 2 hours to the campsite. They moved in and shot DiMaggio. That distant part of the wilderness will be dissected by FBI agents Sunday.
I can't even imagine.
All day Saturday, locals worried about the young girl.
It was extraordinarily worrisome to all the local people that live here, so we know how dangerous it was.
That worry turned to celebration as more than 60 Cascade residents gathered for the good news surrounding the news conference, wanting to hear Hannah was okay.
We'll make sure that she gets as much care physically and emotionally as absolutely possible.
And after Hannah was lifted safely out of this wilderness by a helicopter and taken to a local hospital, the FBI reminded everyone that this is still a tragedy.
As grateful as we are that she was recovered safely, we also remember the other victims in this case who lost their lives.
The darked out wilderness behind me is still a crime scene. The FBI is sending a team here tomorrow to check it out. In the meantime, Hannah Anderson is resting comfortably in a local hospital. In Cascade, Idaho, Joe Little, 10 News.